And thanks to Flyleaf Books for hosting this, right?
Right. I had a couple people say this was their first time coming in, and
That's awesome.
is one of our home away from home in Chapel Hill, so glad that we could introduce it to more people.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you got to support these places. So thank you, Flyleaf Books for having us here. And Travis, let's just dive right in. I've got about 57 questions. We have time for that. A couple of passages that I think would be cool to read, but also, let's have it as an open conversation. If anybody has anything they want to say or add, don't hold back. I think the place to start would be the sort of the stats in the about section.
Okay.
Then do you have it memorized, or here's my copy, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
This copy was free.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it out, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, go ahead. Be great. Yeah, good idea.
So this is in the about the book. I think this is probably right on the cover, or like on the first or second page of the book. Here we go. Listen to this, folks. Every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in the U.S. Globally, 2.3 million women are diagnosed in a year. So someone get their calculator out. On average, each cancer patient has 20 concerned people supporting them. Sixth graders, do you know the math off the top of your head? So that means that on planet Earth, 46 million people will be touched by breast cancer a year. So that's where I think we should start.
Yeah, when I was, so the journey to getting this book published was a little bit different than other people probably get their book published. And I actually entered a contest with a publishing group called Hay House. And they have since been bought by Penguin Random House, which is, a boon for me. But in that process, I had to do a book trailer. Like I had to do a pitch for the book. And so those stats or the research, that I looked up and came up with how many people may be touched by breast cancer globally at any one moment based on friends and family and those who are diagnosed.
It's just really an unbelievable stat.
Yeah.
I mean, I just heard Jenna, Pam from The Office, just made the announcement that she is also infected. So even Pam from The Office, the show The Office.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks impacted. So, well, I think a lot of friends are in the audience. But why don't you give kind of just a quick your background, give a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into the book and the process of making a book and all that good stuff.
Okay. I think most people know me here, which is great.
Friendly crowd.
Yeah. So I actually went to school for writing. I was a creative writing major with an English Lit minor and always wanted to write a book. I will say that this is not the book that I thought that I would write. And when I chose my career, I had a choice between choosing a job at Glamour magazine in New York, working as an editorial assistant, or working for Calvin Klein Cosmetics in the marketing department. And one of those jobs paid $10,000 more than the other job. And I took the money. Sure. I did not take the job at Glamour. And looking back, it's interesting, people ask me, your path and what you took. And I think in that moment when I coach people like I've done in the past, especially young women who are entering their professional lives, is to say, follow the passion. Don't follow the money. And it took me until now at 53 to actually see my passion through. So that's how that became real.
It's hard to make that decision earlier in your career.
I know.
You get older, you get some wisdom.
Yeah.
But, so, and then do you want to talk about specifically the journey that led to the writing of the book? I mean, do you want to talk about?
Sure.
Your
I mean, I think it's interesting because most people come up to me and say, God, how did you get this published? It's really hard to get a book published. And it is really hard to get a book published. It's hard to get attention. It's hard to get it out there unless you have a platform. And when I say platform, I mean followers. And if you have, lots of followers, then people will give you you have your platform, and then they will help you with the book. That's not the way that I went about it. I mean, this for me started as a passion project. I finished 1 year of treatment, right, from diagnosis, April 2016, to the time I rung the bell at UNC Lineberger, April 2017. I just kept thinking when I finished, I want to do something to pay it forward, right? I had so much help and feel really, grateful for all the help I got during treatment. So in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month of 2017, I wrote one thing a day that helped me through breast cancer treatment. Small things that are in here, big things that are in here. But I just put it out there because people called me and said, hey, I need help, or I have a friend who has cancer and has been diagnosed. Can you help her? And I could say, hey, you could go to the blog and here are the things that helped me. And that's how it started.
With a blog.
Yeah.
You collected it as a blog.
Right.
Started to collect.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into, so I learned some interesting and cool things about Travis reading this book. Who here knew she was in the Peace Corps? That's pretty cool. That's a good detail. Can we tell us a little bit about that? I mean, that's something we all like, oh yeah, the Peace Corps. Yeah, I know.
I was.
Take us back, Travis.
Take us back. It was senior year of college.
Really?
Yes. 1993.
I think that's pretty cool.
And everybody else was knowing their path and where they were going. And we had some type of, as they do on college campuses, right? They bring lots of people in to talk to you about their companies and what you could do working for them. And the Peace Corps had come. And I remember walking up to the student center. I ran into one of my friends. Now we would call them frenemies. But then we called them friends. And she said, what are you doing, Travis? I was like, I was going to go see what the Peace Corps is all about. I was going to go to the presentation. She's like, you will never get into the Peace Corps. She's like, they only take people from Yale and with really good grades. And I mean, that is not you.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. And what I realized is that really it took someone to be hyper organized to get all the paperwork done.
Right.
I mean, it's a government agency.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah. So I ended up going to Yemen to teach English for the Peace Corps.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was one of the cool things I learned about you from reading this book. There's so many good facts in this book. And it's also, I mean, it's amazing what Travis is able to do as far as just making it entertaining. I mean, there's so many light moments in the book mixed in with all this very difficult stuff.
Right.
You told me about this before I read it, and then I read it, and you're like, yeah, that's true, where it's just such a mix of kind of the medical and also the spiritual, this is what worked for me, this may not work for you.
Right.
This worked for me. I love that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so you want to read a little bit? Would that be good?
Sure.
Here's just a couple of places that I'd love to hear, but specifically page 31. I think it's section or chapter 9, the whatever you believe section.
Yeah.
Can we start there?
Yeah. 31.
Are there chapters or sections?
So there's 5 sections of the book with mini chapters, I would say.
There's a lot of neat nuggets, but I really like this kind of whatever you believe section.
So listening to your inner voice, 31? No. Yeah, see. Yep.
Yeah, whatever you believe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. After my stage 3A breast cancer diagnosis, I asked everyone I saw what they thought caused the breast cancer. I got a lot of different answers. The other thing I always asked was, what is the best treatment plan to cure my breast cancer? Surprisingly, I kept getting the same answer over and over and over again. I got it from my doctor as well as my acupuncturist. It might surprise you. The answer I got was, whatever you believe. Really? That's the best you got? Yeah, it was, because each one of them said that what I believed mattered, that what I believed and felt mattered the most. I struggled deciding whether I wanted to go the allopathic medicine route. That's Western medicine to you and me. That means surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation versus going the more Eastern medicine route. Acupuncture, herbs, extreme diet, and a cancer care medi-spa vacation. Some believe the whole U.S. healthcare system is rigged to make us sick and thus trap us in a cycle of bad health. I read and studied both Western and Eastern approaches. In my experience, I found that breast cancer patients my age, which was 46, lived longer when they led their treatment with Western medicine. However, adding energy shifting modalities like acupuncture or Reiki could help healing. Also, a whole body of science now points to the right foods making a difference in healing cancer in general.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Food, you just mentioned food. Food is a big focus of the book, right? I mean, nutrition, food. That's actually my favorite section is the one on nourish. But right there, you point out that, Eastern and Western, and kind of for you, what worked was a combination of the both, or a mixing and matching of the both?
I mean, I asked a lot of questions when I was going through, and unfortunately, I remember talking to one of my PAs at UNC and asking about the more Eastern medicine practice, and she said, I remember her sitting with me and saying, I don't say this to scare you, but in general, people that she had seen go that route only would be back to have the Western medicine.
Right.
And then it usually was too late.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And she said it in a way that was caring, that was truthful and factual, and it hit home with me. Yeah.
Talk about your care team a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of I thought it was a cool collection of folks that you had on your care team.
Well, I think I write in the book.
You list them in the book.
Yeah, as most of you guys know, I have a husband who loves teams and coaching.
Coach.
And
we call him Coach.
Yeah. So it's kind of born out of that perspective, but that, it's not just about the medical team. It's about the other people that you have on your side and supporting you through the process. And I do talk about that, to be very conscious about, I was conscious about who my care team was. Yeah.
It's a mix of kind of medical professionals and also
my acupuncturist, special friends, cancer buddies.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. I think there's a yoga
teacher in
yoga
there
teacher, yes.
So it's a really neat thing. The section on Travis's care team I found was really neat. Travis, in the book you open up a lot about yourself. You tell a lot of specific intimate details about your life, about your family. I know you wrote the book for the 2.3 million people that this affects every year, but also look around the crowd. It's also your friends, people like me. There's a couple of 11-year-olds. Is it weird? Like, to me, it'd be easier to write this book to the 2.3 million people, but it'd be really hard for my friends to read this stuff. How does that sit with you? How do you see what I'm asking?
Oh, I know what you're asking. So let me just read. So are you asking me that, how is it for me, to be vulnerable and to have that capability, to put yourself out there? And I would say, I would say that for me, I think one of the reasons I probably didn't write a book until I was 53 is because I could not allow myself to be that vulnerable.
Yeah.
I could not open up that much. It would seem too frightening. Yeah. The fear would come up. But I can say for me personally, and there are probably others in this audience who have faced cancer, once you face the big C, you're like, who gives a shit?
Nothing else.
it just doesn't matter, right? So for me, what I thought about when I was writing is more about getting in touch with my story.
Yeah.
And, I know that my best friend out in California will tell you when I say, I'm on a mission to make breast cancer treatment easier for people we love, he'll be like, oh no, you wrote this book for yourself, honey. Like, this is for you to process this, and some of that is true too.
But it's so helpful. I mean, again, we'll get to the section on Nourish. The chapter on Nourish, is that it's a chapter? Would you say section or chapter?
I would say it's a whole section.
The section Nourish is my favorite, and I'm sitting there reading this thing, and I'm a relatively healthy person. We probably all think we're relatively healthy, but you're sitting there reading this chapter, and you're like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could change that.
Yeah.
Whether you're healthy or sick, whatever your sickness may be, it's a great chapter, folks, that we could all benefit from, I think. The other funny thing that I love that you said in the book multiple times, so you'll see when you read this, it's so well kind of researched and thought out, but like at least 3 times in the book you're like, but I'm not a professional anything.
Oh, I'm not a professional anything.
I love that. That's my favorite quote. I'm not a professional anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I do risk management for the company that I work for, so definitely had to put that in there.
But it's like the most kind of researched, eloquent couple of sentences about a topic, and then right below it, I'm not a licensed anything.
I'm not a doctor.
It's smart.
Yeah.
I like it. So let's get into the whole. Okay, so the book itself is out. You sold out of them here. Good job, everybody. Tell us about sort of the thing finally gets made. It's in hard copy. You've had a couple of stops so far. Let's see, Brooklyn, New York,
Yep.
and Baltimore.
Yes.
So kind of a weird on a map, kind of a crazy. Here we are in beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But just tell us about the whole process of getting with Kat, your publicity.
Yeah.
Finding the locations, and I know it's a lot of kind of friends and family, but it's bigger than that at this point.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. There's the book, and there's the product, but then there's the road show, if you will. You got a kid in middle school, you've got a busy life to begin with. Tell us just sort of about that whole roller coaster.
Yeah. So I have a dear friend who is an author. His name is Rhodes Fishburne. His wife is Lindy, who I've known since I was 12, and as soon as I got this publishing deal, I sat with Rhodes. I said, what do I need to do about this book? I mean, I really don't want to do anything. I have a full-time job. I, am a mother and
middle school
and a wife and all of these things. Like, what do I really need to do? And I was hoping that he'd just take it down to the brass tacks. Like, here's the one thing that you have to do. And he said, let me put it to you this way, Travis. Before you wrote this book, nobody knew about you, and your publishing house is taking a gamble on you.
Yeah.
He says, once your book is out, then you have a book out.
Right.
And they are going to be watching how it performs. And so you need to think through, if you would like to write another book, you need to focus on how to promote the book and connect it to the people that need it. And so his one thing was, hire a publicist.
Yes. That's Catherine Kennedy.
Yeah,
Kat Kennedy.
Yeah. So
how did that come to be?
I ended up finding her. There's a website called Readsies, and it supports authors, and I found her there, and then ended up looking her up on her website and interviewing her, and thought she'd be a great fit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I just for my little tiny bit of it, the working with her has been fantastic. So
Yeah.
Seems like you got a good one there.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so that's good. Okay, so and then just the travel, how do you weave in? I mean, you've got some other. We'll talk about your future stops, or we can talk about them right now. I mean, I know you're going to Charleston, South Carolina. You're going to California in a couple days.
Yes.
Back home to Salisbury.
Salisbury, North Carolina.
That's actually
my
next.
hometown on Thursday.
Give it up for Salisbury, folks. That'll be a friendly crowd. But yeah, I mean, talk about
Or will it?
Yeah, exactly. The frenemies.
Yes.
The frenemies will be there.
Yes.
We're going to Salisbury. We need to stack the deck in Travis's favor. But again though, just Travis, all the stops on top of your job, on top of your. I mean, how are you feeling? I know we're 3 stops in. How many of these events are planned right now?
I think in total it was 10.
So
to start off
7,
with.
8 more.
Yeah. What I will say is that anybody who knows me really well in the room knows that I am a planner. I'm going to try to plan everything. And so I'd really planned to have time in October to focus on connecting with people at events, connecting with the book, and then something happened called Hurricane Helene. And in my day job, I support a company that has a third of our workforce in that area, and I head up HR. And it has been, it's devastating for people there, and it has been hard for people who have companies there and are trying to manage doing business there. What I would say, to connect it back to the book, though, is I got a call from one of my dear friends, Andy, and she said, Travis, you are getting a chance to practice again everything that you wrote about in this book. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just like frenetic, I'm driving. She's like,
that's a cool perspective.
She's like, cancer, when you're diagnosed with cancer, the rug is pulled out from under you. And what just happened to people in the West, the rug was pulled out from under them.
Absolutely.
And what are the things that you wrote about in this book that can help you in this moment? And it was such a, we all need reminders. I need reminders. And this book is a way of reminding me, right? I need to put my health first. Health is wealth. And without my health, there is nothing else that exists. Yeah. And so in this moment of great, tragedy, but also frenetic energy and wanting to help so much and putting yourself out there in the energy, is to remember what my aunt told me and I write about in the book, which is, you know what they say on the plane, right? Put your mask on before you give it to the person sitting next to you.
Right.
And that's the same thing. This is what the book is about. It's about self-care. It's about taking care of yourself. And I wasn't doing that before I was diagnosed with cancer. And now I do it. I think about it every day.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love it. Any comments, questions? Does anybody want to chime in while we're cruising along here? Well, don't be shy, folks. Come on now. Okay.
Are you open to other venues and stops along the way?
Oh, yes.
I can answer that, yes.
Yes. My second.
Let's get her books. Let's go.
Yes.
I'm texting Kat right now. We have another. What do you have in mind?
No, I was just thinking each one of these is such an opportunity. Someone knows someone somewhere else,
2.3 million a year.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I have a
Dr.
quick
J.
question as well, yeah. This is probably better later in the conversation, but you sort of alluded to it earlier. Is there going to be a second book?
I would love to write a second book, and I would love to publish a second book. David and I took a trip this summer to Denver, and my goddaughter was visiting, and she's like, Aunt Travis, I really wish that you'd write a book that would help people my age and help us, getting into the world. And so I don't know, I'm noodling on that. Yeah.
But now that you have this process down,
Yeah.
The very first ceiling fan I ever installed took 3 days. The second one took like an hour.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
Do you have any passages that you want to read from the book? I'm seeing a couple of Post-it notes in there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really different about the book, because we have this language around cancer treatment that's focused on fighting and being warriors, and really, to me, very violent language for someone who appreciates and writes and reads. And I wrote about how that did not resonate with me in the book.
You wrote about that in multiple spots in the book.
Yes. So my one thought was, okay, if I am battling this, then aren't I just battling myself?
Right.
Because I'm the one who grew the cancer. It's not like it was something that came from outside of me, right? It's something that I created. There was an environment in me that allowed it to perpetuate. Now, let me be clear. This is very specific to my type of cancer. Other types of cancer are not the same way. Right. But for me, because of it was a hormone positive, progesterone positive, there was an environment that was created that made me ripe to be able to grow this.
And you're not a licensed anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm not a licensed
anything. You cannot forget that, folks.
Let's have the disclaimer.
Do you have a passage about the not fight?
So what I was going to say is with that thinking, there was something that came up for me at the end of my journey about thanking my cancer. So I actually,
Interesting.
what I would like to read
Please.
is the thank you note that I wrote to my cancer at the end of the book.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So this is on page, this is the epilogue. It's on page 137. Thank you. As I'm writing this, it's March and spring is showing itself in the woods around my home office. White flowers on the Bradford pear trees are making way for green leaves. The forsythia's yellow buds are popping against the tired winter landscape. A chance for renewal is here. When I meet with my oncology team in April, I will be an official 7-year survivor. There are so many things to celebrate when spring comes, but this is the most important to me. I am here. I had a blog at one point that shared some of what is in this book. One day it vanished from the sphere of the internet due to an oversight. When I realized it was gone, I felt a huge wave of relief. I didn't want to keep up with it. And though several women reached out to me and valued the information, the disappearance of the blog made way for what you're holding now. I began the process of putting it together, writing, editing, and finding a publisher. One thing that was not planned was what I'm about to share with you. During one of my NIA classes, words floated up from deep inside me. They said, "Thank you, cancer. Without you, I wouldn't have found this new way of being in my body." Then I thought, oh, I should write my cancer a thank you note, being the good Southern person that I am.
Mom would be proud.
Oh, no, she would. I felt a surge of gratitude, happiness, and joy. It's like the thought rode a wave of energy from my heart to my head. Then almost immediately, another thought came in. I don't want to thank my cancer. What if it sees this as an invitation to return? I knew I'd figure out a way to ease my worry once I'd written the note. So here's what I wrote. Hey, cancer, thank you. I never thought I'd be in the place to say this, but I'm here now in this place, able to process what's transpired. Because of you, I've made big changes. I have a new perspective, and I live differently. It's not perfect. I'm human, but I see differences. Thank you for helping me realize my life is worth living and that I am worthy of life. I've made a conscious decision to stay on the planet. Thank you for helping me to see my body deserves attention and care, that health is everything. Without it, my care for my daughter goes sideways. My love for my husband doesn't exist. The connections I feel to other humans are lost. Feeling good, strong, and healthy in my body is it. Thank you for opening me up to newness and wonder again. Thank you to chemo for teaching me how to be present with my daughter, to slow down, go at her pace, do what she wants to do, and relish in not keeping time. Thank you for showing me how to take risks again. A writing class with 19-year-olds? Yes. A crazy new dance class? Yes. A trip to that place that's been calling? Yes, please. The time is now. Grab it. Thank you for bringing yes back to my vocabulary. Thank you for teaching me self-care for real, not some self-help guru do-it-this-way path, but showing me my path is inside, and I always have it with me. Thank you for helping me realize I compare myself too much to others and put too much stock in their opinions. To be honest, I'm still working on that one. Thank you for making me advocate for myself, remembering that if it doesn't feel right, it's not. Thank you for guiding me to this new place of love. I love my body. I love myself. I love where I am right now. When that shifts, I know the things that get me back to love. Feeling the warm earth under my feet, ocean water, Nia, writing, dancing in the kitchen, singing with the car windows down, and being with people I love. Thank you for making me see how food affects how I feel and how I heal. Thank you for teaching me that there's no real destination in life except death. So enjoy the journey, because that's my true life's purpose. Thank you for simple gifts every moment of every day that will add up to a wonderfully long-lived life. Now cancer, be gone for good. Love me. This is the result I wanted to share with you and hope someday you'll meet me in this place of wisdom and gratitude. Thanks for taking this journey with me.
Okay, I'm not following that. We should probably.
Is that it? Any more questions?
There's a couple more things to talk about. Jenica? Are we good on
Sure.
time?
Oh my gosh, this was so beautiful. This is not a great follow, but I'm curious if you engaged with how you engaged with research, both Western medicine and Eastern medicine, as you were deciding things, and what that experience was like.
For me, a lot of questions. Well, seeing lots of physicians and doctors and following up and the studies that they provided. So I have a team, my oncology team at UNC. My oncologist always cites the studies when we talk about the numbers. So that was helpful because I could go back and look at that and see what those were. More for the Eastern practices, it was more about talking to people and seeing what others had found. I was really fortunate in the beginning of my journey. I had a conversation with a friend of the family who was a breast cancer survivor, who also, she told me about her journey, and then she also connected me with an oncologist at Johns Hopkins. And so both of them actually sort of ignited this looking into Eastern and Western and how to meld them together, because both had examples of where each of these things worked for people and the stats.
Did you find a lot of research looking at the whole picture, or was it more like separate pieces?
No, separate pieces. Yeah, I mean, I haven't met. Now, I'm an 8-year survivor, so it's been a while since I've been in treatment, which is great, but I haven't met someone who has done both, to look at both, to see if you do this, if you do the food, if you do the Eastern practices and you do the Western, does that help survival rates? I haven't seen that.
And get a second opinion, people.
That's my number one thing in
That's
the
a big
book.
one. It's all over the book. Get a second opinion.
For sure. Yes.
Travis, are they giving this book out to people at UNC? New diagnosis?
Not that I know of. It would be great to be connected with someone who could help facilitate that. So anybody in this room, anyone, you let me
UNC
know.
is welcome to buy as many of these.
Does your oncologist know about this book?
She does, yeah.
Does she have a copy?
She has the electronic copy, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. She is a busy woman too.
Several, again, back to fun facts about Miss Brady here. Another one I loved. Who knew that Travis was in an a cappella group? And they're reuniting tomorrow night.
No, I am not singing tonight.
Come on, Travis. Give us a few.
No.
The rest of your group, now tell us about it. Give us a little bit. Come on. Just tell us about the a cappella. You put it in the book.
I did, but it was
it's
more
awesome.
It was more about the fact that anyway, yes. Yeah.
Will you consider joining an a cappella group in the future?
I don't think so. But I really appreciate that. It was so great when I did it that I don't think that experience could be replicated.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Some things are best left.
I was in a acapella group experience. We had a lot of fun. We traveled.
Yeah.
I mean, needless to say, number one movie in my house, Pitch Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Another section I absolutely really enjoyed in the book, because this is so, you have a whole thing on using social media for good. Mm-hmm. And we all know how awful it is for so many aspects.
Yes.
And that made me so happy.
Yes.
Just like, because 10% of it is good and 90% feels like it's bad. And you use social media for good. I just love that. I love that aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to put myself out there and be vulnerable. And then one of my friends encouraged me to. And I think one of the fun things, and I talk about it in the book, is that, I'd reached a day that was really difficult during treatment, and I just needed cheerleaders around me and wanted some good music. And so I just reached out on Facebook, said, hey, what's your song? What's that song you play in the background? to get you revved up for a presentation or whatever. And I got a huge list. We tried to play it. David was going to play it tonight,
Yeah.
the playlist, but it's in the book.
Well,
But
it sounds like you're
that was
coming back and
very
doing this
helpful.
again, so maybe next time.
Yeah, that was very helpful. Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that you created that environment and that you know we use social media for good. That's a really good thing. Speaking of events coming up, well, at this point I'm just going to go all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
What I love, so one of the events coming up as part of this book tour tomorrow is a virtual event.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
First off, what a great idea, right? Because think about, I mean, probably people wanted to be here tonight, but the kid got sick or they got late or the traffic or whatever.
Yes.
Plus, some folks just might not be able to physically get to where you're going to be. So tell us about the virtual event tomorrow night.
Yeah, so this event is put on by a foundation called the I Rise Foundation. And it is a woman named Jillian who started this foundation, and it is geared towards helping women who are younger diagnosed with breast cancer. So really thinking under the 40 crowd. Unfortunately, statistics are showing now that more women who are in that age group of 30 to 40 are getting diagnosed. So that is that's her foundation, and she also does trips for people who are either in treatment or have completed treatment, and does support trips with cancer survivors and patients.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a roundtable discussion and just see I have a presentation ready, but just see what people want to talk about. Yeah.
And is there a website for that? And then
That's what I was gonna ask, because I have like a friend that was just in treatment today and wanted to be here, and she was hoping to make it, but she couldn't be.
Yeah.
just irise.com?
IRISE, I Rise Foundation. If you send me a thing and I'll send you the link.
And also, obviously, just travisbrady.com is the website's lovely.
Thank you.
There's a lot of great information
Thank
on
you.
there.
Thank
But I thought it was so cool that you were having a virtual event. That just makes so much sense. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that. And then there's also another one that this looked interesting to me. Here in Chapel Hill on November 11th, like a lunch and learn type event.
Yes.
So touch on that a little bit for folks that want to.
Yeah, so we're members of the Chapel of the Cross, the Episcopal Church, and I'm going to be doing a lunch and learn on Monday, November 11th, for anyone who wants to join that as well.
So what's this? You pay a certain amount and then you get lunch, or is it like
Oh,
talk
I
us through
think
the
so.
setup? We don't know yet. Details to come.
Details will come, but I
Yeah.
don't think you pay. I think
But is it like at noon? Is it like okay?
Yeah.
All right.
You show up at the church and
Is it a brown bag situation, or can you?
I think they provide
Travis
lunch.
is making lunch.
You're making lunch.
No.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think if you just,
Should we Uber Eats to the
no,
church?
if you go to the chapel of the cross.org,
Yeah.
you should be able to find it on there. It should say.
So
Yes.
a lot of cool events coming up.
Yes.
But the virtual tomorrow, and then the one at Chapel of the Cross just look really cool to me because they're just different from the.
Yes. Well, then we're also doing yoga in Charleston on the
Let's talk
24th.
about that.
Lunar-
Look, Jess,
lunar
look at Jess's
yoga.
face.
Lunar yoga in Charleston.
Tell us about the yoga in Charleston.
So this bookstore reached out. It's in a new sort of up and coming area called Park Circle. And they have a little bookstore, so they don't have events there. And they said, Travis, we really want to have it at this bar across the street. I was like, you know what? I like a drink every once in a while. Don't get me wrong, but
You spend half the book talking about healthy
health
eating.
and wealth. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't really want to have it at the bar. Like,
Yeah.
is there another place? And they said, oh yeah, we have this neighborhood yoga place.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the woman teaching it is also a breast cancer survivor. So it'll be cool. Yeah.
That's also what
I don't know if I'm going to stay awake though, because the talk is after the class at like 8:30 or something.
But it is cool.
We
how-
really relax.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's neat how all these the different events are kind of taking on a life of their own, so to speak.
Yes.
And
Yes.
people are wanting you back. That's cool. Okay, so Travis, eventually this book tour is going to be over. Eventually, we're going to be done. You know, I think you're going to be selling books forever, but eventually the book tour is going to be over.
Yes.
Is this something that you like a book, close it, put it on the shelf, and move on to a different thing in your life, or is it something that how much of your thought space or time, attention is going to go to this topic 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing that going through cancer treatment taught me is like I can't have control. I don't know. And when I'm more open, then things that I never even thought of will come up.
Yeah.
That will be amazing and wonderful. I mean, the only thing for me, like when I did the book and then I thought about doing a book tour, was really I didn't really want to talk about cancer all the time again.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I really struggled with that. And so, you know, I try to focus when I'm talking or with people on the things that I think would benefit them as well.
Yeah.
And, so we'll see. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the Travis Brady Foundation.
Oh.
Something like that, perhaps, maybe. I don't know.
Never know.
Tell us about what is sound bathing? And tell us about the sound bathing place in Pittsburgh, North Carolina. Do we need to make like a field trip to go there?
Yes, we should totally
really
make a
seems
field trip to
interesting.
do that.
Yeah.
How many? Who's gone to a sound bathing class? Oh, look at that! See,
All right.
We got. Yeah. So.
Give us the Wikipedia definition.
The Wikipedia. I think I have it in here actually.
Do you want to? Could you get to it on
I
the
don't.
fly?
You do have the page number.
No, I have a different page number than I want to.
Than I do, but so in the book I have a section that is called Heal, and it's really focused on the different things that I tried during this process to help me either cope with the medications that I was taking or to help me unlock some stored up trauma that I needed to get out. And one of them was the exploring sound bathing. And originally I had done sound bathing on our, what do they call that when you go? Baby moon.
In Arizona?
Right? In Arizona. When I was pregnant with Greer, and I had worked for Miraval in Tucson, Arizona as a branding person.
Yeah.
And so I had hooked up with them for us to do our baby moon. And we went in, there wasn't much that I could do. Like they have ropes courses there. They have like some extreme sports stuff, right? And so I really had to find the things because I was way out to here.
Right.
That would work. And sound bathing was on there. And I remember walking in the room with you, babe, and they had people just lying down and all the bowls, like the Tibetan bowls and
Bowls like bowls.
like small bowls.
Every size of bowl.
Every kind
It's
of
just
bowl.
spread out
with
throughout the room.
mallets
Okay.
and they had cushy things spread out on the floor.
Okay.
And the cool thing was for me is that she came up and she said, "Hey, are you okay if I put this on your belly?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." So it was my first experience, and then we had a class. There used to be. There's a studio still there in Pittsburgh. Anybody know?
No, it's not.
There's
It's not.
one in Chapel Hill too.
Yeah.
There's one in Chapel. Okay, we're doing a field trip.
Yeah, I would do a field trip for,
Yeah.
for
I would
sound
go.
bathing.
I would try it.
Yeah.
What
It's
an
cool.
I just love how you tried all these different things, both again Eastern and Western.
Yeah.
The combination of that is, folks. Questions, comments, anything else?
Yes, I just wanted to let folks know that Travis will also be featured in the upcoming magazine, Chapel Hill Magazine.
Chapel Hill Magazine.
Thank you.
Nice. That's good.
I'm not turning red or anything.
After your cancer letter we just heard, can we nominate you for like a Pulitzer or?
I'm open to any opportunities.
Maybe a Peabody. Maybe, isn't that the award for? So a couple quick plugs. The raffle. Let's do the raffle.
Oh, let's do the raffle.
So there's
oh
a
my
raffle. Did everybody get a ticket?
gosh. Don't forget the raffle. So when I started talking about this book tour,
Where are the tickets?
here she is.
We haven't seen Greer in an hour, and then they say raffle, and here she
Here
comes.
she comes.
She's gonna draw the winner.
So hold on just a second. Yeah. So
Lacrosse superstar Greer Gross, ladies and gentlemen.
when we started talking about doing this tour, my book publicist had a previous life in publicity for consumer goods products. So She's like, you know what? You need sponsors for this book tour. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that'd be great. So she ended up getting, and I just want to call it out, one of the products that I loved during treatment, and I still love today, is EO products. They're from San Rafael, California. They were on the bandwagon of no chemicals before that became a thing for people. And I love the lavender scent. They sent a shower gel, we've got deodorant, we've got lotion, etc. And then De La Terre Skincare. These guys are out of Asheville, and I was supposed to have an event in 2 weekends there that is going to get postponed until January because of the water situation there. But if you get a chance, please look them up because they're awesome. And in here as a sample of all their products, there is a gift certificate for Sarah McLeod. I talk about vision weaving in here, and she offered a free session. She's actually in Australia. She lives in Byron Bay, but she does distance healing. There's a necklace that is mimicked off of the necklace that David got me to get through treatment. And what else, Greer? Is there anything else in there? Oh, the book's in there.
Itself.
Oh, and there's a candle.
There's a candle.
Yeah, from my friend Annie's store in Brooklyn. Yeah, all right.
All right, Greer.
Do you want me to do that? You do it?
Can we put our ticket in?
Oh yeah, tickets.
Somebody did put their ticket in?
Greer, walking around. Yeah.
No. We have it.
If you got a ticket, that's.
Is this fixed?
Okay.
All right, Greer.
All right.
3 7
Go slow.
3 7 9 0 7 0.
We have a winner. Greer, you want to deliver it to the winner?
Here, you want to take a show? That's a good one.
So let's just do a couple quick thank yous, and then if anybody has any other comments, we'll.
Nice.
Well done, Sarah. Well done. So again, you can find everything on travisbrady.com, obviously. Big thank you to Flyleaf Books in Chapel Hill.
Yes, thank you, Flyleaf.
Travis's publicist is Catherine Kennedy, CK Publicity.
Yes.
And then you said Hay House was actually bought by Penguin.
Yes.
So are we thinking Penguin or Hay House or both?
It's better to have both.
Thank you, Hay House and Penguin.
Yes.
And mainly the guest of honor here, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Travis Brady. Thanks for coming.